Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Today I have with me the team of Beamable. These guys are providing a lot of amazing solutions to the developers. So Beamable has solutions that is specifically tailored for you, the developer, and it will help you a lot in terms of scaling up your operations and whatnot. So I'll leave the introductions to Trapper. Trapper is the CEO of Beamable, and I think he would be the right person to introduce Beamable to you guys.
Yeah, great, Nikhil. Well, thanks for having us on the channel. It's been great speaking with you and learning about the India game scene and all of the exciting creativity and work that's happening there. So yeah, it's been excellent. Thanks for having us on. I'm actually the COO of the company. Our CEO is John Radoff. But yeah, we got our start 8 years ago when we started building AAA mobile titles. And we were building all kinds of games sort of related to AAA IP in sort of the entertainment space. So games like Star Trek, Game of Thrones, Walking Dead. And so as we were building these mobile titles, we found ourselves solving the same problems over and over again related to how do you get players to have great experiences within your game? How do you provide all of the commerce functionality that is going to monetize your game and allow you to build a successful and sustainable business for yourself as a game creator? So we started building a whole series of tools, first internally for us, and then we discovered that there were many game makers all over the world who want similar types of tools and want to build similar types of games, but they don't have all of the time and money to build those kinds of tools. So that's really what Beamable is. We've taken all those tools that we built for our own games, we've packaged that together into an offering, and now we're going out and talking to game developers. That's kind of how we came across you and your channel. So I know Akansha was doing some research, and she was reaching out to you. So yeah, would love to hear from Akansha about sort of how she discovered you, and just more in general, Akansha, sort of what are we hearing from game teams as we reach out to them in India?
So I think I started to follow Nikhil's channel when I was actually trying to learn what Unity is. So that's how I actually stumbled upon Nikhil's channel, and I interacted with him over social media. So it was me understanding that most of the youth that we have on Nikhil's channel, who are very loyal fans, they are coming from a space where they are also trying to create games. They're also trying to understand how games are created. They're not just an active player, they're also trying to create an impact. Now they have a vision. Now they want to create something, but they might be lacking in resources. That is where Beamable comes into picture. We want to make sure we empower our game makers around the world, no matter which continent, which country they're from. The fact is that we see and we have experience from like ranging amount of years where we see how a game can go just from a vision to a sustainable business. So that's why we are here. Over the course of last 3 months, I've been working with Trapper closely, and we're working with Beamable. I've come across n number of studios who are facing a lot of issues in terms of their customer retention. And that comes, I feel, somewhere from lack of having an engaging or immersive game experience. That could be from a lack of, let's say, a social system, or wherein we don't have leaderboards, we don't have tournaments. I feel coming from a person who's not an avid gamer, I used to play song pop when I was a kid on Facebook, and I would feel that I'm leading on the topping charts. Just because of that, I would go back and play it again. So coming from my standpoint, I feel when a customer, when a user actually gets to experience that, where they're trying to compete with others, that is where we find the sweet spot. So that is where Beamable comes into picture and also helps in managing a lot of the content.
Yeah. So that's really, that's a great example of content. That's really what Beamable is meant to do. Is we want to make it super easy to add features to your game. You want to add a leaderboard to your game so that as players compete, you want to add tournaments, you want to add virtual currencies, you want to add inventory systems. Beamable makes it super easy if you're a Unity developer inside of Unity to import our SDK and to drag and drop those capabilities into your game and use a web portal to configure them. So think about, just any functionality that's server authoritative, like content that has to show up in across clients, right? Or player generated content, like anything that you're going to need a central server to sort of store and then distribute to the clients. That's really what Beamable is making super easy for you to implement. So if you are a game maker and you're thinking, wow, I have this really great game, but making it a social game or a multiplayer game is going to be really complicated because I have to learn about, hosting and developer operations and building servers and Amazon or Google or all these other kind of infrastructure problems. That's really what Beamable wants to make easy.
Awesome. Like when I came across your service at first, I was having the same questions because developers struggle a lot with integrations of multiple platforms into their games, such as there's AdMob for leaderboards. You have to integrate Google Play services. Then for analytics, you have Firebase. And one solution that I personally suggested you was the cross promotion aspect, right? Like I had announced on my channel that I'm investing a certain amount of funds into games developed by smaller studios. So there are a lot of solutions out there, and I really respect what you guys have built. And I'm pretty sure that developers can learn a lot as well as get up to speed with the platform, because I think from what I've seen, the documentation is well documented, and the plugins that you guys have built does not really conflict with any of the other integrations that the users might already have. So what I would do is I would request all my subscribers to just check the link in the description, go to beamable.com and try out the product. Could you just also walk the viewers through the sign up flow and what happens and what's the entire structure of the entire deal?
Yeah. So the way it works is you go to our website, beamable.com. You can sign up there. You go to pricing. We price on a fairly simple rev share model. So it's a 5% rev share. If you never use our product in a production game, or you are working on a project and you never ship it, you don't owe us anything. So there's no risk really to sign up and try it. And if Beamable can add the social and the commerce features that are going to propel revenue within your game, we just take a little bit of share of that. And we feel like that keeps us very aligned to the success of the game maker. We want you to ship your product. We want to help you ship your product. We want your product to be commercially successful and generate revenue, because we then take a small percentage of that as our overall fee for helping you get there. So if you're a developer, it's really easy to get started. You go to our pricing page at beamable.com, you click on Get Started, you accept the sales form, and then our customer success team will immediately reach out to you and give you everything that you need in order to download the SDK. You install the SDK via the Unity Package Manager. So we just give you a manifest location and a license, and you can pull it immediately into your project and sign up within Editor, and then you're working with everything inside of your Unity editor right away. So it's really easy to get started, and and then we also send you an invite to our exclusive Discord channel. So you join a community of all of the other Beamable customers, and there you can ask questions. We have online documentation. Our online documentation website has a QA section, so you can post any question to the documentation forum, and our engineers will get back to you rapidly with questions and guidance. We also have an enhanced support package too, so you can sign up and then you get private chat directly with our engineering team. And so then we're in like almost real-time communication. I mean, we're in Boston, so if we're working with teams in India, there's 9.5 hour difference, so it's not real time, but we try and answer every question within a day and make sure that we keep our developers and our customers moving forward.
Great. Now I have a question from the user perspective. Let's say, for example, a developer onboards the Beamable platform into their games. They have like 4 games that have the Beamable SDK included in them. Now, from a user perspective, when I log into one of the games, is there a login screen that is required for me as a user to log into Beamable so that my data can be fetched, or is it something that is already mapped to the user's phone, or how does that work?
So that's a great question. Yeah, so there's 2 aspects of that. So we do support player identity and cross-platform, cross-device player identity. So as soon as you install the Beamable SDK into your project, we are going to start automatically tracking through frictionless login every player that signs into your game. And we do attach that to the device ID. So that we call that frictionless login because we know now that there's a player ID associated with that device ID inside of your game. So if you have Beamable in all of your games, then yes, through frictionless login, any game on that device that the player logs into will be mapped to that player ID. So you'll always have a record across all of the games in your portfolio of the player on that device. Now, if you want to support cross-device, then you have to implement our drag and drop login flow. You drag and drop the login flow in, and then players can create a name and a password, or they can use Google Play Store ID, Apple ID, Facebook ID to link their device ID, right, to another ID that then if they want to log in like from their iPad and their device, right, then it will know that they're the same player across both devices. So we support a wide range of ways of ensuring that you can track your players and know who they are and where they are. We also offer really simple support tools through the web portal that if a player logs in from another device and wants to link that, you can go in with player support and link those IDs and merge them and keep all the data together. So there's been a lot of work to ensure that that can be seamless and work effectively across multiple platforms, multiple devices.
That's pretty amazing, because from a user perspective, it becomes really easy for the user to use the game, because rather than forcibly being logged in. So that's great that you guys have both the options enabled. Now my next question goes to Akansha. Akansha, you must be having a nightmare of developers to deal with, right? I mean, it must be so. I want to understand from your side, what is the process of onboarding developers, and what kinds of questions do they have, so that the audience, if they might be having some similar questions, they might get answered in the same in this video itself.
Okay, so one of the key questions that I do usually get is, what is the pricing that we are going to be working with? So as Trapper just added, there's no charge as long as you don't ship the game. We want to make sure that when you ship the game is when you start making revenue, is when we come into the picture in terms of pricing. So that is one of the key questions that I get. In terms of how many people I interact with, I think that ranges from talking to people from Poland to France to India to US to Mexico to, like, it just goes on and on.
What are the general questions that you get apart from the pricing? Now, what next?
Maybe some of the questions that developers ask us, like some of the problems they're facing, like what are we hearing from developers when they write back to us about some of the challenges maybe that they're
any kind of integration challenges that they might be facing or something like that.
Actually, most of the onboarding process is taken care of by Satvik, so I'm not really, I don't have a deeper understanding of what are the onboarding issues or integration issues that they might be facing.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a customer success manager, Satvik Siddharedi, that handles all of the onboarding. I think we email out. I mean, we do a lot of email outreach. Akansha does a lot of Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn outreach. We're just constantly talking to developers, and they're constantly facing a lot of these challenges that we have. I mean, we have game makers that are making tons of games, but they don't really have any way of tracking their players across their games, or they want to offer a tournament feature, but how do you build all the server tech for that? How do you handle all the reconciliation? How do you prevent cheating? I mean, there's a lot of sophistication that goes into these features that are non-obvious, that once people actually get into it, it's really challenging for them to solve. So we talk to hundreds of developers a month at this point. I think we talked to 256 developers last month. So we're talking to lots of people. For Beamable, a lot of the developers we talk to, they don't use Unity, so we're not really a good fit for that. Although we have full REST APIs, so you don't have to use our Unity SDK to interact with our APIs. I mean, you can write directly against those APIs through RESTful calls. So there's a lot of flexibility there that kind of goes beyond Unity. But that said, Unity, it's really easy to use this in Unity. So a lot of developers are not on Unity, so it's not a good fit. And we talk to a lot of developers who either are in between projects, right? They don't have an active project, or they're really late stage with a project, so we're not a good fit for that. But if you're a developer that's kind of in your pre-pro, past prototyping phase, you have a sense of what your core loop is, and now you're trying to construct your metagame. You're trying to construct the systems of like progression and monetization that are going to allow you to really build a business around your game. That's where Beamable is it's good to have a conversation with us, because we can really help you kind of understand at that phase the kinds of decisions you could make in design that take advantage of our functionality that are going to allow you to build a real business.
So now my question is that since you mentioned Unity, right? So are there developers that are in large quantity that don't use Unity, or are there like developers asking that why don't you make a plugin for Construct or maybe Unreal Engine? Do you have any support for all these engines, or is it like you certainly do have the REST APIs, so developers can write their own plugins and scripts? But does Beamable look at also creating a plugin for, say, Unreal Engine or Construct or any of these other engines?
Yeah, we hope to in the future. I think right now, I mean, we're a scrappy startup ourselves, right? So our team is 13 people. So it's, you know, it's not a small team, but it's not a big team. And we're really just focused right now on making sure that our experience for people working in Unity is really good. We want it to be really easy, really efficient. So that's kind of where we're focused right now. But yes, our next plan is probably next year is to start working on our Unreal capabilities and an SDK for Unreal as well. Because like I said, the REST APIs mean that you could write against Beamable, and we have full REST API documentation, so you can make calls against all those methods and endpoints and take full advantage of it. And we do have a couple customers who are going to be building against Beamable, but they're not really using our UI layer. Like they're going to be building against the platform directly because they have, you know, very specific ideas about kind of what they want to do with some of their UI. You know, our focus on UI is with the games that are experiences, you really want to ship as fast as possible because you're going to learn how you want to tailor your live operations and your content and your merchandising. You're going to learn that with your players. So our goal really is create UI that's good enough to ship, get your game out there fast, start producing content, promoting that content up without having to do client updates. Everything's super seamless, right? Getting new content in the hands of your players, doing that as fast as possible, and learning. That's really what Beamable can enable for game makers.
So one interesting aspect that I can think of from your use case is, let's say, for example, the developers have certain level building mechanism inside their games. So is there a way that they can use Beamable to ship out new content directly on the air, over the air, rather than having them to, you know, launch a separate APK update? So is that something that is possible?
You know, that's what Beamable does. Like if you think about it, is everything in a game is content, right?
Yeah.
The levels are content, the visuals are content, the rules are content, the products that you sell, it's all content. So at its core, Beamable allows you to author all of that content, to test it, and then to deploy it to all the clients without having to do a client update or without having to have a game server, right? So you can just create something, author it in Unity editor, promote that up, test it in a staging environment, and then promote that directly to your production environment. And Beamable handles all of that. And so if you wanted to create a new level, you can treat that as like a JSON object. You can insert that in, right? The client will pick it up. All of that's managed by Beamable. So there's a lot of flexibility around being able to have players create content and have that content distributed across all the client, have the designers create content and promote that up to the environment. That's all stuff that Beamable was built to handle.
Awesome. Actually, I have an idea that we'll discuss after this call that, you know, maybe we can work in a more exciting way that can, you know, prove more beneficial to the developers, and as well as they will onboard your Beamable onto their products. It's a small idea. I'll discuss it with you afterwards.
Yeah, totally.
So guys, do you have anything else to add on to this, or should I ask any particular questions that you want me to ask right now?
No, I think this has been great. It's been super helpful. I'm just super excited to hear from the developers of your channel. You know, Akansha and I are really just looking to learn. Like we're trying to decide how can we make Beamable better? How can we make it easier? How can it solve real problems for real game makers? Yeah. And you know, you have a lot of really talented people watching your show and subscribing to your channel, and you know, we would love to just hear from folks around sort of what are we doing and is it useful? How could it be better? that's what we really want to know. Like, we're really open to kind of learning from every single one of our customers. You know, we prioritize our roadmap right now based on the customers that we have and what their needs are. So, we're really excited to kind of hear from everybody.
Great, great. So guys, that's the team of Beamable, Trapper and Akansha. Akansha will come and get you and solve all your questions, and then they will connect you with the tech team that will take your game to the next level. If you want to integrate Beamable SDK inside your games, the links are in the description. Go ahead and take a look into their SDK and just use their games and launch your next game as fast as you can. That's it from my side. Trapper and Akansha, do you want to add any parting thoughts or any other feedback to the users?
No, we're excited to hear from everybody. And like Trapper said, we're learning as everybody else is also learning. So it's best to, whatever questions that they have, we would be happy to answer, because eventually it also helps us improve Beamable. So we're excited to learn more from your audience.
Yeah, and feel free to reach out to us on LinkedIn as well. Both Akansha and I are like happy to make connections with game developers and happy to also answer questions there as well. So yeah, feel free to reach out on any channel. We'd love to hear from people.
So friends, all the links are in the description. Find them on LinkedIn, find them on their website, and go ahead, check out their pricing page, check out their dashboard and everything, and go sign up on Beamable. That's it for this video. If you're finding this video for the first time, press the like button. If you're finding my channel for the first time, subscribe and press the bell icon so you don't miss my next videos. I make games related to games and game development. So that's it from my side. See you in the next video.